Brands, we need to talk. It's time to start texting your customers. Yotpo, the leading e-commerce marketing platform, has the most advanced SMS marketing solution to reach customers where they are on their phones. Yotpo enables brands to build unbeatable targeted SMS experiences to create customer connections and drive revenue fast. Visit yotpo.com, that's YOTPO.com, and get personal with SMS marketing today. Hello and welcome to All Killer No Filler. It's Friday. I'm Eric Dick, and today I am lucky to be back here again with some amazing team members from the Pilothouse team. Today we have the very first appearances of media buyer Spencer Hay and UGC coordinator Nikita Pickard to talk a little bit about a platform that they have been working closely on, a little platform called TikTok. And I know I sound like a boomer when I say that, and I have to start by saying my personal experience with TikTok is really only through Twitter and other platforms. But I have to say, I find the medium just crazy entertaining and really engrossing. Let's start by just talking about the platform a little bit. And Spencer, tell us your relationship with TikTok.
Totally. Relationship wise, I'm sure start with a little bit different than yours, but I was like actually on the app, and they managed to get me pretty addicted pretty quickly because the content is just like it's fast, it's exciting, and it's just like a new platform. And I've kind of grown from just using the app and hearing other people being like, "Oh, I found this TikTok on Twitter. Check out this video that I found on Reels when like Reels came out a while after." And I go like, "That's all coming right from TikTok. Like TikTok is where it's at." And it's kind of just like when Vine blew up and everyone was on Vine, and there's suddenly just like this vacuum of this Vine style content that TikTok has really worked into like the way that it runs its platform, and it's just been like crushing it ever since. I mean, it's tough if you haven't heard of TikTok. It's growing fast.
689 million, and I think that was in 2020. Like, so it's probably grown a ton since then. And I know it has the reputation of a platform that's really for the youngins, like, for the Gen Z, late millennials. I'm a very early millennial. And But I think that's changing. I think it's being more widely adopted. I think it's being seen across all other platforms, so it's leading people to the actual source. What do you think of it, Nikita?
I think of it from a creator's platform stance that like it's just become this brand new thing that is just blown up. And for a lot of people, I think it's just create a platform where people can just be creative however they want. And it's a really easy medium to come up with these fantastic videos. From more of a marketing perspective, like it's just the content that we've seen come out of this app and in such a short time period is like it's fascinating because it's so upbeat, like Spencer had said, and it's very engaging. And there's always something new. Like every week, there's a new trend that just seems to be blowing up. And it's a really fun app, and I've loved it so far.
The fact that it can achieve such drama and humor and timing, like just by pressing a button and just by basically taking short clips and lining them up, and the way you can make your own music. I'm just thinking of that IKEA video that swept through everyone I know. The guy, talking about the employee customer service in IKEA. We'll have to link it in the show notes here. But it was one of the funnier things I've seen like in a long time. And it's amazing to think the way this technology is sort of changing people's ability to create on a like mass scale.
Yeah, I mean, they've done an amazing job with it, and like one thing that they've really like mastered is just like all of the music that they've like had their partnerships with, worked it out with like Spotify or Shopify, sorry, no, Spotify. Oof. And they obviously like changed over from Musically to then become TikTok, and so like music was a huge part of it, and that's just like inherently like a tool that they've been able to use to then make upbeat, like exciting content. And then like how well they've done with editing on the app, that like anybody can pretty much shoot their own stuff, create transitions, and like the effects that they have on it are just like crazy. So like from a user standpoint, it really does make sense why it's been so popular and why like everyone's been latching on and just been spending an enormous amount of time. I'm not sure if you've seen like I saw a statistic a while ago that the per user average across that 68 million or 680 million or whatever is an hour a day. That's the
Yeah.
average people are doing. So like it's crazy. There's a lot of eyeballs on it.
Time passes quick on it in the experience that I have. And they do such a good job. I've actually read a piece on one of the reasons it's so addictive. We posted about it in the newsletter. Subscribe at directtoconsumer.co if you're listening and you haven't yet. Was just about how it grabs you on so many different dimensions. Like you go into it and all of a sudden, it's sound, it's video, it's happening, it's authentic, it's immediate. But also, then the next video will be something maybe more local to you, or it'll have, the way it just sort of like is addictive because of all the different dimensions it engages you on. Would you agree, Nikita?
Oh, 100%. I've seen it everywhere from 1 minute I'm looking at somebody who's got millions and millions of followers, and the next second something pops up and it's somebody who lives in the same city that I do. So like you get such a diverse range of content and it's all engaging. Like very few times do I ever just like swipe past a video because I'm like, like for the most part I'll spend usually the whole video or at least half of it. So.
Nice. Okay, let's get into ads a little bit here, because I remember when the platform was coming out and what a big deal it was, and I know for a long time they didn't actually have an ad platform. There was just sort of native content integrations. But just Spencer, can you talk a little bit about getting into TikTok ads for some of our clients?
Totally. So yeah, I'm like primarily a Facebook media buyer, or at least that's where I started. And just from like working with clients, one of them brought up the suggestion of like, what about advertising on TikTok? And I hadn't particularly looked into it myself before, but I was an active user and I quite liked it. And I'd heard people talk about TikTok advertising, but beyond that, wasn't too sure. But with like us feeling like it was going to be a great test for the brand, just jumped right in. And
what category is this brand? Is this the housewares one?
This is the athletics.
Athletics, okay.
Athletics equipment brand, and just kind of like launched the ads out there, and it was really just kind of like a little bit of learn as you go. And like an interesting thing about like TikTok being so new is there's the opportunity of it being a new platform and there's less competition. And if there's that many eyes on it and you can figure out a way to convert those people, then perfect. But unlike Facebook, and one of the major things that's been like the biggest learning curve on it is because it's so new, not only is it changing very quickly, but there's very little resources out there compared to like when I started like learning about Facebook. You can go down rabbit holes on Facebook buying and strategies, and there's forums and tutorials and people putting up all this stuff. And on TikTok, it's just so new that there's limited things. So that's why like just coming on the podcast is perfect. Hope it gets out to like some people, and sharing the information is amazing in my opinion. And if it can get around and back to me and sharing other strategies, perfect.
Nice. Yeah, it's definitely the topic du jour for a lot of people. And I just saw a post just today about someone, one of the Facebook posts about how much money brands make. I see a lot of those in the info space, and it was but someone talking about harnessing TikTok. And normally their sales are $5,000 a day, but they caught the right content trend, and they were just coasting at $40,000 after that. Like it's this really interesting time in any platform. It's usually referred to as the Wild West. As platform, and those periods are getting smaller and smaller as new platforms launch. They launch on the shoulders of other ad platforms essentially, but there's always those times in the beginning where there's real opportunity to scale things up. I have to ask though, Spencer, about the creative. Were you just launching Facebook creatives from this account into TikTok, or were you making specific custom TikTok assets?
Good question. Yeah. From like us having run Facebook ads, we had like we had a decent library of content that we could use. And we also had like the learnings from Facebook of being like, we know what's typically going to work. But when we were approaching TikTok, you just got to look at it, see the case studies that TikTok like puts up about all their suggestions, and it's just available on their website, and those are fairly good. It comes very apparent that it's just different content. Even like TikTok's motto for like ads is don't make ads, make TikToks, because they want you, and it's kind of it's become like a bit of like a general vibe that I get on through advertising on TikTok, which is like when they want the user to scroll through, a lot like Facebook wants a nice seamless like uh, experience on the platform. TikTok is exactly the same, and they do that by trying to encourage fresh, new TikTok style content, and it really does show that it works better. So coming back to your question, we definitely did um, take a look at it as a whole. We actually did test against the existing winners that we were seeing on Facebook, just like raw, like that's how it is, changing it from the 1:1 ratio to the 9:16 and plunking it up there. But for the majority, we were taking the content that we had, went, okay, how can we TikTokify this? And that's just like using more upbeat or like trendier audios, really, really keeping in mind that the attention span is very short. So keeping those cuts heavy, and then kind of just, you know, trying to make TikToks pretty much.
Really, like with the, so this is like this is the ad team, and there's no shame in this. We all make ads for clients. And is it literally just you guys making TikToks using the equipment?
Not quite, not quite for this brand. I actually don't have any of the equipment at my place.
Yeah, you're pretty jacked though, so.
So who knows? Maybe if I had the equipment at my brand at my place, grab the brick in the background, it'd be like a full on studio. But I haven't gotten there yet. I did. I have made TikToks for clients, and it's kind of just like, what can I test out quickly, I suppose. But it's mainly just been, okay, taking the content that we have already and doing things like making the cuts way quicker. And then I don't know if you have seen, like, it's a good example of TikTokifying. The creative is just like going onto the app, recording a video, and doing putting a piece of text and then doing voice to text to voice.
Okay.
And then you like download that, and then you put that text to voice over top of your edit, and it feels very organic to TikTok, and it does the same for the ads.
Very cool. Nice little hack there. I always love those, and we can throw those in on All Killer No Filler. So just talk about the kinds of ads. I know sometimes we run brand assets, we TikTokify things, and I know Nikita's role comes in when we're actually going out to external creators that we want to get. Are those all under the same ad type in the system? That's just a difference in creative?
Um, Coming from my perspective it's a lot of the time I think we found that even getting TikTok people and getting them to create a TikTok, we're actually able to kind of cross post those types of videos across Instagram and Facebook, which is kind of interesting where you can go from TikTok to other platforms. But when we try and kind of go the other way, it hasn't really had much success,
That is
which is what Spencer's talking about with the whole TikTokify. But do you want to add more to that at all, Spencer?
No, I mean, for like testing on the platform, and is why like me and Nikita like work very closely together, is that on the platform, like, you really do need to push a lot of content testing, a lot like Facebook, but unlike Facebook, you can't just run like a graphic and try to work that out. So Nikita on the UGC side and sourcing these new creatives, and that's just like seeing what exactly is going to work on the platform, and just like slowly chunking away at finding the little elements to then like request more. And it can like come by, it can be like a total surprise to us. So it's kind of like a mixture of, okay, we know that showing a range of emotions works on the platform, surprise, sad, happy, like let's throw all that out and like get that front and center, and it grabs people's attention. But then at the same time, also like just requesting content that the creator likes to make,
Yeah.
because when we source their creative, and Nikki's done a great job of just like sourcing out some great creators for us, is that when you find them, they're not just a good personality fit, but like they make good content. So I always love to push, just like, let's see what they can make for us, in their style.
That was
Yeah,
a
I
big.
think the biggest balance that Spencer and I have had to kind of come over was, how much direction do we actually give them? Because when working with these brands, we usually go in with a strategy of, okay, this is the kind of content we want, this fits our campaign. But like Spencer said, you don't want to restrict them anyway. Like these people are popular on TikTok for a reason, and we want to see their creativity come through. So that's been like an interesting balance that we've kind of had to overcome. But I think we've done well, and I'm excited to see where we keep going.
It really is the evolution of the influencer, right? Where the whole problem with the influencer became, okay, they don't do anything. They've got influence, but great, they just post about products or whatever. But that evolution to creator really makes these people make a lot of delightful content. Something I think I've got to get into at one of these points. We're talking about it for the newsletter even. I'm sure there's lots of business interested people out there on TikTok, and we could probably make some pretty funny TikToks. I wanted to ask though, Spencer, what kind of incremental lift can this provide to a brand in terms of like percentages of revenues versus other platforms? Would you say?
I mean, it's really interesting because it is a new platform, and like with that comes just like comes growing pains. And I say that in like the nicest way that I can about the platform, in that it's a new ad platform, and like one thing that we pretty much have to work with is that at the moment they're trying to get away from it, but it's predominantly a single session attribution model. So when a user comes through and like sees the ad, we're monitoring it through TikTok, and we're only getting data back when they click on the ad, stay on like that browser link, and just go through, and like they might just get to add to cart and then leave, and that's obviously all we're going to get. Or they make it all the way to purchase, and then that's what we get. But then if they leave the funnel and then come back a couple days later, kind of like that overall lift that we like to see on Facebook, or we get attributed for, it's a little bit of lost data.
It is lost. There effectively is no retargeting then between sessions.
Right. Yeah.
Interesting.
So you have to like really building like a good UTM code system is really key. Just like be able to understand what the audience is actually doing and what your customers are doing when they're coming through the funnel. And you definitely like we've been trying to track just like assisted conversions and delayed conversions, things like that through analytics. And that's definitely shown better results than like slightly better results than we're getting in the ads manager. But at the moment, like even with like the single session attribution model at like a scaling up, we're definitely seeing, comparable and like competitive results from what we're seeing on Facebook.
Interesting. Yeah, and with abilities to go higher when you catch those niches, I think, right? Which is really, really exciting. Whenever you have so many people flooding into a platform, like I'm sure the growth rates are not comparable for Facebook and TikTok, obviously, right? TikTok must be growing a lot faster. Are you finding the audience skewing older at all, or is it still very much a young person's platform?
Well, it's definitely still a young person's platform, and you just kind of have to like work with what you have at the moment. And it from like my own standpoint, just like anecdotally, it does feel like even over the past year, it's starting to skew a bit more older, and just like more people are being introduced to it, and it's slowly becoming less of that like trendy young dance kind of app. There's definitely still that out there, and it's still predominantly meant for like a younger, or probably viewed by like a younger demographic. But there's definitely still plus 30s plus whatever's you want to, however high you want to go, they're on the app and they're using, and we're seeing conversions come through.
Nice. How does targeting work? You're targeting by interest in a similar way, because I guess you choose interest when you get on TikTok. Also targeting by demographics. What other targeting availabilities are there on TikTok?
Well, you have the same amount of like audience building that you have on Facebook to an extent. Like you can build lookalikes and like just audiences off of your page views and everything for your retargeting audiences. And then for targeting audiences just in like prospecting, they go with general interests, and it's just like your general like you put in early when you start on the app. And then they also have like your interactions, and that's both your interactions with videos as well as creators. And then so you can segment by whether they've shared, liked, watched to the end, and one other. I'm missing it, but
One other
and
action.
then within the last 7 and commented, yeah, and then within the last 7 and 14 days, and just if that user has hit those check marks on that kind of content, then you can target them.
Nice. What an exciting platform. What do you think is keeping people off the platform? Like, what's intimidating about advertising on TikTok?
That's a good question. I haven't particularly spoken with too many people about that, but from what I've heard, it's mostly just been interest. It hasn't been like, oh, I'm not too sure. Everyone kind of wants to dip their toes in it a little bit, which is a great place to be. You know, where
Yeah.
like as a new platform, it could be a great fit for your product and for your brand. You know, and there's definitely like better brands for the app and or like for the platform at the moment as it's growing, but like really you don't know until you go ahead and test it. So I've definitely seen more interest of like, oh, there's people getting this little slice of the pie, can I get in there?
Mm. And what sort of categories? We've got the exercise category. What other categories have you seen this work for?
If I was to boil it down to like what would be like the ideal, which would kind of um, a little more towards like the female apparel kind of vertical and jewelry and things like that.
So
Home
female, skewing female generally, you find?
generally, yeah. I mean, it's not a total hard limit, but if I was to pick like the pinnacle of the pinnacle, that would probably be, and what I've heard from our contacts at TikTok, just that like that's typically the best way to go.
Nice. And then Nikita, on the influencer, the creator side, um, are you finding it's mostly female creators that you're reaching out to, or is it pretty balanced?
I would definitely agree. It's the majority. I would say are female. There definitely are a lot of male creators out there that you can find. However, from brand perspectives, a lot of the time, I find there's for like TikTok's more well suited to some brands than it is for others, and a lot of that comes down to how much explanation your product needs. So from what I've kind of seen, it's, women's apparel or, makeup, beauty, that kind of area where the products themselves don't need a ton of explanation and a creator can make a quick, upbeat, engaging video. It's kind of where you see most of the brands. That being said, though, there's definitely opportunity for other brands to come in and to kind of engage more with that male demographic. But as of right now, I think it's definitely more female.
I think there's also, never want to stereotype, but I've heard anecdotally so many stories of people people who sell male products, assuming that their customer's male, but not realizing that still a large percentage of their customer is still female buying for, partners or friends. And so I feel like that's another thing to recognize, though, even though the platform may skew female, that doesn't mean that it's, not an opportunity for men's products, essentially.
100%. Yeah.
Very cool. Any final words on TikTok? I got to jump on this platform. Actually, no, I'm going camping this weekend and there's no coverage, so I'm going to be totally out of TikTok range. Any final words for people on how to jump on?
Well, when you get back, I'll send you all my faves. I'll send you all my liked lists. You might be horrified with some of the things that I like, but you know.
We've got some pretty good ones though.
I've seen some of the best political commentary coming from TikTok these days. Like, there's really, like I'm like when you do you go? Are you into it for specific interests or more for like the cross? Because it also goes right through culture. Like what these TikToks, like the ocean spray guy on the skateboard, like that became like the cultural moment. Whatever that was a year ago. So I'm interested. Do you like to follow the big trends or do you follow more specific niches? The question to either.
I don't particularly follow one way or another. Nikita might be the same, and just like the way that I typically use TikTok is just like on the on the page. So just like as you scroll through, you just like or comment, and TikTok is just like starting to recognize the content that you like. So instead of following specific trends directly, being like, I follow this person, let's check out their content, it sees that you like certain type of content, and then it starts putting it out your way. So like just out of nowhere, I'll just start getting a lot of like Formula One or like weird niches, just because like I've watched to the end of one of them, or liked it because it's been funny. So it does cater to that.
That's a really interesting understanding that I didn't have about the platform, that it was just sort of this thing that you pick up, and from the way you act with it, it serves you what you want. To me, and that's Spotify, which is, it makes sense. They have a partnership with Spotify. To me, Spotify is like the most benevolent AI out there. Like just the fact that it knows and continually delivers me songs that it knows I'll love in that sort of one-way fashion. That's how TikTok works too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, Spencer, but I find compared to other platforms, I'm much more open to following new people and new creators, whereas like Instagram or Facebook, I'm much more specific about who I'm following and who I'm engaging with. And TikTok, I think, is so great for that because you get to expose to so much content that you wouldn't normally, that it's a great way to connect people and a great way for brands to connect with consumers. And
It doesn't ask you to do it. It just drops you in their world.
exactly, right? There's no pressure. It's totally on your own accord. Like that's, I think, largely in part to the appealing part of it. So
I'm actually sorry, Eric. I'm actually the polar opposite, and I'm like super specific with who I follow. I pretty much follow nobody. I'm like, I don't know if you deserve that follow. Even so many followers up there.
I love it. Nice. Well, so all the creators listening out there, you'll be lucky to get Spencer's follow. When you get it, relish it. If you want to know more about working with Pilothouse on our upcoming TikTok campaigns, you got to reach out at pilothouse.co, care of Spencer. Tell him the podcast sent you. And then otherwise, make sure you subscribe to the newsletter at directtoconsumer.co. Have a great long weekend. Do you, either of you have any exciting plans this weekend?
not at all. Sunshine and outside.
Might be doing similar to you, Eric, and going camping, but I think I'll stay within cell service.
Nice. Okay, smart. Well, good. Then the campaigns will be fine.
Yeah, I gotta stay with TikTok. I gotta know the trends.
All right. Thanks, guys. Talk to you later.
Thank you.
Bye.